Kelby Zener.
And I'm Ben Zhang from Rubicon International.
Ben and I are standing here on the banks of the Vltava River in Prague, where we're going to examine one school's exciting crossing. That's the International School of Prague and their journey, which began on one side of the Vltava, where they were started to record their curriculum using Atlas. Now, they use Atlas as an intentional tool that instructs their pedagogy and allows them to capture and explore their students' academic journey. We'd like to take a little bit of time to look at 3 key dimensions that help support the International School of Prague's journey.
Okay.
And so we kind of see these as 3 noteworthy pieces of their journey. The first being that their use of the technology and you really using it to instruct their pedagogy as opposed to just capture their curriculum.
Great.
The second is that they re-engineered their standards to support the continuum of understanding going on at their school. So that means that they actually went back using their data and looked at where they were capturing the 6 facets of understanding in their curriculum,
okay,
and realized that their standards needed to be rewritten in order to support those. And so they're going about that process right now.
Wow. So they've really been able to move beyond that second step where a lot of schools get stuck and say, you know, we've documented our curriculum, we've made adjustments to our standards and to our maps to represent what we want to do, but actually taking that and put it into the classroom and look at ways that we can teach change our teaching and learning practices to affect student outcomes.
Absolutely right, and that's really the third piece, which is the teaching and learning and really changing that practice, like you said. So it's very important. And so what we want to do right now is examine how ISP has used Atlas to move from reflecting the taught curriculum to instructing their curriculum to make sure that they're accurately accounting for how students are cognitively learning their standards and benchmarks that they have at the school.
Great.
So shall we get started?
Yeah, let's jump off.
Okay.
We are going to start with the first dimension. When we move to using technology to instruct rather than record, it allows us to have a clear focus and ensure we are capturing and reflecting the most beneficial data. This first example is of a school that has used Atlas to record their data. We can get the big picture of the curriculum, but if we were following a pedagogy with clear components, this type of map does not provide the opportunity for that specificity. If we want to use Atlas to instruct pedagogy, we might follow a similar method as ISP. Here, the facets are a part of each benchmark, and once one is selected, the cognitive verbs associated with the facets are selected so that it is reflective of the actual teaching and learning within the classroom. You might only want to track the facet at the facet level, and you could easily limit the selection to just the 6 facets. Or your focus might be on the cognitive levels of student learning. By using the tool to intentionally instruct the pedagogy, it requires a definition of the key elements, as well as a deeper level of understanding. Because the facets and cognitive verbs are selected in association with the standards and assessments, it is important to ensure that everyone has a solid level of understanding. This is a page out of the Understanding by Design workbook to help explore each facet.
Like any journey, there are opportunities for enlightenment that stimulate new ideas. Because ISP began their crossing with instructing the pedagogy through mapping, they came to the conclusion that their standards needed to be adjusted to support the different levels of understanding. They are currently in the process of reviewing their standards so that they promote reflection on what the level of understanding is for that student. If you have skills-based standards, like this example, there are a couple of questions you might want to ask. Do the standards already predetermine the level of understanding for a student? Do they encourage authentic forms of assessment? Now take a look at how ISP has redefined their standards. They now ensure that they can first specify the facet of understanding for the benchmark and then give more detail by selecting the appropriate cognitive verb. With content-driven standards, the shift is to provide more specificity into how the student is mastering the content. Without adding the level of understanding to the standards, it's hard to determine how the student is actually learning. In looking at the difference between these very content-specific standards and the new ISP science standards, it's easy to see that they foster understanding and clear performance-based assessments for student learning. By instructing the 6 facets through the technology, it put a lot of pressure on the standards to be reflective and provide the opportunity for teachers to specify the levels of understanding.
The 6 facets allow you to specify a level of understanding and provide the latitude to be able to describe where an assessment falls on that continuum. It is important to take the time to reflect on the data and use it to facilitate conversation to promote sophisticated teaching and learning. By using the data to examine the student's experience, it raises the collective level of understanding and allows for self-examination. Using the data provides an individual teacher the opportunity to reflect on the student levels of understanding in their class. For example, in this graph, you can easily see that we are providing a set of students with an opportunity to apply their knowledge throughout the year, but need to consider methods for providing a deeper understanding. We can take our data a little bit further and examine how our students are meeting the facet of an application. Here, we can see that when students are applying, they are primarily performing. As an individual teacher, this gives me the transparency needed to review how students understand in my class. It also provides the data needed to ensure that I am teaching at my highest caliber. We can gain perspective across the grade level or throughout the department in analyzing the various ways students cognitively understand. For example, in this 5th grade class, we can examine the different cognitive verbs students are being assessed in the facet of explanation. The 2 most common forms are to identify and demonstrate. We may want to explore new ways in which the students are being assessed for explanation. We are able to gain perspective on the student experience at the school and make decisions and adjustments on the teaching and learning. We went in depth on how ISP has used the 6 facets of understanding to instruct their curriculum. Schools use a variety of approaches to meet the needs of their culture and overall goals. The key is to create an environment where they all come together.
Whether you're crossing the Vltava, the Elbe River, or scaling the cliffs of Dover, we are all on our various curriculum journeys. The important point to remember is to ensure that the technology and the curriculum tools we have are meaningful partners in the journey.
Think about your current crossing or future crossing and what dimensions will be fundamental to success. Whether you're at the beginning of your road today at ECIS or you're further along the path, just remember it's about the journey, it's about getting to the end. For Kelby Ziener and Ben Zhang, we wish you the best of luck on your journey.
Enjoy your crossing.